Hey guys, I want to take a few minutes to do a quick review, go over some differences, some pros, cons, a little bit of history on these two watches. I see a lot of threads started online. I see conversations. I see some pictures. I want to give my insights and a few quick thoughts on these. So these are both my personal watches. One here on the left-hand side is an M serial Kermit, reference 16610LV. M serial references a 2008 manufacture date. One here on the right-hand side is a 11610LV, current generation ceramic sub, dated from 2017, which was purchased, when did I buy this? I guess May of 2017. So a little bit of history behind these watches. So the one on the left came out first. 2003 is when it was brought out to commemorate Rolex's 50th anniversary of the Submariner. The one on the right-hand side came out in 2010 as a replacement after this one was discontinued. Now, what are the similarities? The watches are both 904L steel. They're both 40 millimeters. They're both 13 millimeters thick. They both have oyster bracelets, and they both have the same movement inside. So what are the differences? So if I start here on the left-hand side, aluminum bezel, maxi dials. So important to keep in mind if you're shopping for one of these older 16610 subs. A non-green bezel, non-Kermit does not have a maxi plot set up here on the dial. What I mean by maxi, so all maxi means in Rolex terms is large. So if you notice the plots here, they're large and the same size as the one here on the left-hand or on the right-hand side for the current ceramic sub. A regular black sub does not have maxi plots. Only the Kermit sub came with these maxi plots. So if you see a non-maxi plot sub with a green bezel, it's either fake or somebody replaced the bezel, and I would not buy it. The Kermit only came with a maxi dial. So other key differences: smaller lug profile, crown guards are pointed and much smaller. The bracelet has hollow end links, which if you shake it, you can definitely tell. I mean, it just sounds like change in your pocket. Aluminum bezel. The bracelet is I believe a 78-360 bracelet. The clasp is the older style kind of flip lock here with a diver extension. So what that diver extension is down here on the watch, inside the clasp where the bracelet goes into, is you will see right there, that O, where my left nail is. If you press down right there, you'll hear a pop. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. This comes out, and you can close the watch, and effectively, this was designed in so somebody in a wetsuit that goes diving can fit this watch over their wrist. Other than that, it has absolutely zero practical use. But in terms of design and what this watch was designed to do, it makes absolute sense. Pops back in, you'll hear a pop, solidly in. We'll go ahead and close the watch. So with that in mind, what are the differences between this watch and the one here on the right-hand side? So the dimensions of this watch are literally the exact same. You know, there's a common misconception out there that the one here on the right-hand side, the current ceramic-based Submariners, are much larger, but in reality it really isn't. It just looks that way. The case is still 40 millimeters. The thickness is still 13. You can tell, I mean, side by side is literally the same thickness. Hopefully I can show it well, but I mean, literally the watch is the same thickness. Now, what are the key differences here? The lug profile is a bit larger, which kind of gives that look of a larger watch. On this 5-digit sub, I believe the lug width from edge to edge is 24 millimeters. On this one, it's 27. The crown guards are just much fatter. They sit, I guess, higher and lower on the edge of the case. It's just a much larger, more robust crown guard. But in reality, nothing's ever going to happen to this one, even though it is smaller. It's just completes the look of what they call the maxi case. So again, in Rolex terms, all maxi means is larger. Plots on all ceramic subs are maxi, so there's really no difference between any of the size of the plots. The dial on this one is a sunburst green as opposed to this, which is the standard black dial, with the exception of the maxi plots. The only difference between this one is it has an aluminum insert. This actually has a ceramic insert. Now, important to keep in mind, I feel much more comfortable throwing this watch around than this watch around. The reason why that is because of the bezel. This is a ceramic bezel. Now, ceramic is a incredibly scratch resistant material, but it is very brittle, meaning if you hit it against something and cause a blunt force impact, this will crack and is not cheap to replace. This is a metal insert that if something ever happened to it, you could pop it out and replace it. This one you can't. This has to go in and get a brand new one, really expensive. Bracelet, solid end links. So if you look at this watch, it's much more solid. Even if I shake it in my hand, you really don't hear anything. On this one, it feels like, or it sounds like changes in your pocket. Reason why that is because this one has solid end links, meaning if you took one of these end links out and you looked at the rod that goes through, or in this case, the screws that go in on the other side, it is a solid unit with just a hole drilled out for that rod to go in the middle, or a screw. This one is hollow, meaning if you took a look at one of these links, the entire thing is hollow. So which is why you have a lot of play here. You can see daylight in between. I don't think I can pick up on camera. You can kind of see it there. But as a result, the heft is very different. This is a much heavier watch. I wish I had a scale to measure it. I could probably look it up online, but I can tell you blindfolded, this is much heavier, mainly due to the heft of the bracelet. Now, the actual clasp, just leagues ahead of this one right here, leagues ahead. Micro adjustment here, you pop it out, you can move it in and out in 2mm adjustments. At first, when I first saw these bracelets come out, I didn't think it was that valuable to have that, but in reality, it is a creature comfort in modern day that is very, very useful. You're gonna drink fluid through the day, you might have a salty lunch, who knows, and your wrist might expand. In 5 seconds, I can expand that out and I'm good to go. So, I mean, the quality of the bracelet between the current ceramic and the old non-ceramic is just, you know, let's not kid ourselves, it's not even the same league. Now, other things to bear in mind. So, the bezel, when you move it, sounds completely different on the current ceramic subs versus the old aluminum bezel 5-digit subs. This one, there is almost no play. I don't know if it's because of the design, because of the bezel insert, or because they changed it, but if you listen to this sound, and also the way it feels, there's just no play. But if you look at this one, and if you listen to it, it sounds completely different. And if I bring the watch up closer to the camera, you can see there's play. And there's nothing wrong with this watch. Every single 5-digit sub does this. But notice how there's play before it even goes to the next click. Now, I honestly think that's a result of the ceramic bezel as opposed to just a metal insert that can pop in and out. But the feel's completely different. The solidness is completely different. It's just a completely different bezel. So, you know, likes and dislikes. So if I had to pick one of these long-term, now I'm not going to sell these, but if I had to pick one of these long-term, I would say definitely this one. And the reason why I say that is this is a great watch. It's definitely a head turner, very, very modern, has all the creature comforts you want. But one of the things that does detract from it a little bit is the green dial is a little bit much at times. You know, the green bezel's okay on this one. It's much more muted. This one is just, you know, you're asking for attention. On top of that, you know, I guess I'm a classic Rolex guy, and to be honest, these are the only 2 Rolexes I have. But, you know, I've owned other Rolexes in the past, and I much rather prefer the slimmer, non-maxi case of the 5-digit Submariners. Now, again, I'm not going to sell these watches. I'm going to wear each one, you know, quite a bit. But if somebody were to take one from me, or if I was forced to sell one, I would definitely keep this one. Now, apart from the looks, you know, what is the better value proposition? You hear that a lot with these watches, which is kind of funny because, you know, 10 years ago, this watch was a bust, the one here on the right-hand side. Even this one, the Hulk was a bust. Three years ago, or even 2 years ago, you could find these sitting in the case all day long. And 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, you know, the market on these was $5,000-$6,000. On this one, I remember, back in the 2008 timeframe, 2009. Now again, the economy wasn't doing that great, but even at that point in time, $4,000, $4,500. But if you're going to speculate, this one is definitely the better option, and I'll tell you the reason why. Both these watches were busts when they came out and have really both picked up steam over the past couple of years. But if you think in context of the unpopularity of this watch, and to be honest, I have some theories of why this one has become so popular, but that's for another episode. To give you perspective, this is an M serial watch manufactured in 2008. This watch did not move from the case until the middle of 2010. This thing sat for 2 years. So if you think about it, this generation watch here on the right-hand side has been popular. They're making a lot of units. This one was unpopular for the entire run. So there's just fewer of these. I think it's a more classic case. It's much more wearable every single day than this one. That's taking my objective hat off. But yeah, it's just my personal opinion there. But for me, both great watches, things to consider. For you guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. But both are great watches, and I don't ever see myself selling them. Thanks.